Welcome to News with a View. Today is December 15th, 2025, and I'm your host, John A. Costa. Today we're going to be speaking about more of the Democrats in Congress who have just been making some outrageous statements, and I reported on some of this. I got some more information. It's going to be a short show today, maybe a half hour. In the news, also, of course, the one making national headlines, the unfortunate murder of Rob Reiner and his wife. Totally disliked the guy's politics and some of the things that he had said against the president, but still never wish anything like this would happen to him. We'll touch upon a little about the shooting that took place in Rhode Island, Brown University. I'm not going to speak anything about Australia. It's self-explanatory. We don't have to even go there. You know why it happened. So, you don't need me to tell you. You don't need me to tell you. So, let's get started. This is episode 171. For those who might be joining me and haven't had the pleasure of sitting through one of my podcasts, it's a conservative-leaning podcast. I will point out when I think Republicans do something wrong. Doesn't happen often, but I will do it, and I will say it. I mainly look at the Democrats because they're our opponent, not enemy. I do not think of the Democrats, it's hard not to, as the enemy. They are definitely against the Constitution, which should make them the enemy, but we don't go that far. We're not like the Democrats. I'm a conservative. I'm a constitutionalist. I am not a MAGA. Okay? All right. So the representatives who linked public frustration to the shooting of National Guard members in a negative of the principles of the National Guard, with principles on why the National Guard is present in Washington, D.C. This is about the two shootings, one resulting in a fatality that took place last week, 10 days ago. And it's interesting the takes that some of these people made publicly. The Democrats truly in Congress are an embarrassment. It's just unbelievable that they can even think the way they think. And worse, they speak. If this was grade school, you'd tell them, hey, you got to speak English. Not Ebonics. All right. The latest one that I went after was Representative Julie Johnson, a Democrat from Texas, during House Homeland Security Committee hearing on December 11th. Johnson stated that National Guard members were shot because people are frustrated and they're channeling that frustration. You think that's why they were shot? Because Americans are upset about our National Guard troops? Do you think that's why this person did this? Because they were frustrated? The people I'm going to mention coming up are morons. They shouldn't be in Congress. They shouldn't have anything to do with the government. Nothing. Nothing. She was criticizing the Trump administration's immigration policies, arguing that a perceived lack of respect and regard for the rule of law by the administration was causing overwhelming frustration that was bubbling over. The rule of law. Who are we going after? Who are we looking for? People that entered this country illegally. No status. Nothing. They just appeared, right? So the rule of law that this idiot, Julie Johnson of Texas, this walking piece of garbage, says that we're not following the rule of law. Well, you're here illegally. You're here without status. We don't know who you are. There's no way for us to find out who they are unless we apprehend them. Done that way by the freaking Democrats to sneak these people in, so you couldn't do anything. How could you do it? You have to do what's being done. President Trump was elected with this. Everyone who voted for him knew what he was going to do. We elected him. He's the president. That's what he's going to do. Not violating the law. Show me one American citizen that was shipped out. No, you can't, because it didn't happen. Are they all violent criminal offenders that are being shipped out? No, they're not. They're not. Did he say that every one of them was going to be, every illegal was going to be shipped out? Or that only the criminal element was going to be shipped out? No, he didn't say that. He said they were going to go after them, but it doesn't mean, oh, hold it, you're here illegal, but you haven't committed a crime. We don't know who you are, so we're going to let you go and go look for a criminal. No, it doesn't work that way. And yes, do you, when you have to pick something up, do you pick the farthest and heaviest object to drag in? No, you don't. You take the closest and easiest one. It's the same thing with catching illegals. Do I have to go into a person's apartment building to find them? Or can I stand outside Home Depot and find them? Just park my car there and they come to me. You think that's violating the law? You think it's all right that you lock your front door and someone climbs in through your window, sits in your living room, and then declares, you can't do anything with me. I'm in your home. I'm sitting on your couch. So now I'm part of your family. Feed me. What are we having for dinner tonight? You okay with that? Or how about You shut your door, you don't lock it, and they just open up and walk right through it. No? You think that's all right? I don't. And I would say most common thinking Americans feel that that's not right. And you have the left screaming that, we're arresting American citizens. Well, if you interfere with the police or a federal agent, yeah, you will be arrested. Yeah, that's what happens. You want to shout from the curb. You want to shout from the sidewalk. You don't want to interfere. You don't want to block them. You want to do that. You have at it. You can do that. You can't make threats. But you could shout out there, ICE, go away. Come back. Never on any day. Whatever you want to shout and sloganize and get out there. But you can't interfere with them. I'm all for peaceful protesting. I'm all for that. I have no problem with that. I think that's a good thing. But when you interfere with the police or a police agency, and that's what ICE is, you're going to be arrested. And it's not necessarily going to be a gentle arrest. If you resist, you'll be knocked down. You will be held down. You'll be handcuffed. And if you put your hands on a police officer or a federal agent, you will be charged with assault. Now, everyone laughed. The guy that threw this cheeseburger or sandwich at the police, at the ICE agents, that wasn't assault. Yeah, that was assault. It's just that in that particular jurisdiction, the only people you're getting are people that hate the police and hate the government. Honestly. And it's like jury nullification. And, you might not think, oh, well, yeah, you get hit with a sandwich. What's the big deal? Well, if you got hit with a sandwich, you'd go, hey, I want that person, next it's a sandwich, and then later on it's a brick. Right? Where do you start? Where do you start drawing the line? I think this is a problem with the Democrats. I think it's a problem with their thinking, their alignment. It's a major problem. This comment that she made came during a heated exchange involving the November 26th shooting of 2 West Virginia guards. So it's like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. The shooter was an Afghan migrant whose asylum application had been approved earlier in 2025, and that was, they approved it. And it just goes, maybe they got to do a little better job of vetting. Okay? Another Democrat on the committee, and I misspoke about this person. That's why I actually went back to it. I called him Bernie. His name is Benny Thompson. He's a Democrat representative from Mississippi. And he faced significant backlash for calling the incident an unfortunate accident. An unfortunate situation, though he later claimed he misspoke. Kristi Noem jumped all over this idiot, Thompson. And then he was like, I want asked a question. Mr. Chairman, can't even speak English. Asked. I want to ask a question. This is who we're electing. Piece of shit. That come out and say that, Donald Trump putting them in there in harm's way. No, he's using our military as prescribed under the Constitution. And even Washington, D.C. mayor had said, well, crime has come down. Tennessee, you're not hearing them screaming there, are you? Crime has come down. There's no doubt about it. The word goes out. You want to commit crimes, go somewhere else. Don't do it here. The shooter traveled to Washington to carry this out. It was a terrorist act. This wasn't people in Washington, D.C. that lived there that committed the crime. All right? Now, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Democrat, Florida. We all remember Wasserman. Wasserman, she had an aide, Imram something, that was originally stopped at the airport trying to get out of Dodge. This is, I think, in 2018, maybe 2016. And he had originally been fired from all Democratic except her staff because of an IT situation. He was an IT person. And at first they thought, hey, he exposed information, he hacked or stole. He was never charged with any of that. Though the accusations were there, he was never charged. What he was charged with was cheating a credit union out of $160,000 under false pretense. And his wife and his child had already left town, went to flew back to Pakistan, and he was 1 foot away from stepping on an airplane to join them, and they nailed him. Now, he pleaded guilty to the crime of deceiving a federal credit union and receiving a loan under false pretense. And he was in jail for a while, and the judge said, all right, time served. Now, I'm not sure if I'm sure he had to make restitution to that credit union. They had to sell the house and do whatever he was going to do and return that money. But he got a very, very light sentence. And he was an American citizen. He had American citizenship. And I tried looking him up. This is Debbie Wasserman's guy. Now, she fired him the next day when she found out about the credit union scandal, but she did not fire him for the accusations made by other capital people that this guy was stealing equipment. And that charge was never brought forward, and that was never a charge. It was an accusation made by some people, but it was never followed through. I tried looking him up and to see where he lives now, and no one seems to know whatever happened to him. He's somewhere in the United States, they said, working on cultural activities. So, but Debbie Wasserman faced criticism in late 2025 for comments suggesting then President Trump, 2025, he was president, was to blame for the shooting of 2 National Guard members because he ordered their deployment to the city. So he was responsible because he put them there. So I guess in a wild stretch of things, you could also make the point if any of those National Guards people or anyone that wasn't deployed to Washington from the National Guard units there that were in some type of accident, they could then blame Trump for not taking them away from West Virginia and putting them in Washington, D.C., and thus not being in West Virginia to be in a car accident or to be hurt or something of that nature. You can make that claim too. Going to use that type of logic. During a news segment, she argued that the presence of military troops on city streets for law enforcement purposes make people less safe and puts them in harm's way. Some people take offense to this, but she's why the C word was invented. Okay? Wasserman is by far one of the worst liberals, progressives, who truly hates this country. And why? I have no idea why. I've heard her speak. I was at a union rally in Pennsylvania and had to endure hearing her speak for 20 minutes where I wanted to just run up on stage and unplug the microphone. Terrible, terrible, terrible person. And you've had other Democrats, moderate Democrats, who turned around and said, listen, that's them saying that. That's not us saying it. Don't lock me in on that. Don't do that to me. So, all right. Just a little out of order here. A new memo shows how corruption probe in the Clinton's foundation was killed. Told by was killed. Well, we were told no by the FBI headquarters during to start an investigation against the Clintons, and this is back in 2016. And this information is being slowly released out on not so much Comey, but Andrew McCabe. I think I called him McBride and some other, 2 mistakes I made. I called Omar a senator, she's a representative, and I said McBride instead of McCabe in one of my other podcasts a couple of weeks ago. But it appears that McCabe might have held back some information to Comey on what should be investigated by the FBI and then brought forward to the Department of Justice. Because the FBI doesn't prosecute. The FBI just gathers information and then gives it to the Department of Justice, lines it all up for them, Department of Justice looks it over and then decides whether or not they go forward or they don't. And in this case, what was McCabe had allegedly told agents was, don't bring anything forward. Because the DOJ will act upon it. So, hear no evil, see no evil. What this is starting to peel back now is the Clinton corruption. That also led into the Obama, corruption of business as usual. And I think that there's going to be a major release of information by Trump on the election. I want to see the election fraud. I want to see that. I said that in almost a year ago after Trump won the election, that it doesn't have priority. Running the nation is priority. But I do want to see movement on Trump's claim of political election shenanigans. Because if he can't bring this forward, I never want to hear it talked about by him again. Done. Done. And if you can't, then you can't prove what you have said. I won't call you a liar, but I won't trust you the next time around. Just because you can't prove it doesn't mean it didn't happen, but you can't keep going to that well. It's just not going to happen. Not going to stand for it. So that's going to be interesting. Trump particularly has a bias against Clinton. Not so much Obama. I think Obama, Obama was slippery enough that Trump kind of liked that. Okay, smart guy. Smart guy. He was using everything. He wasn't trying to crucify me. Clinton was trying to have Trump jailed. Huge, huge difference in the political arena. Huge difference. They wanted Trump in jail. Obama just didn't want to have to deal with Trump. He was a thorn. And Obama was a pretty smart guy. Is a pretty smart guy. So, he knew. All right. Another news, and I said the other day, I'm not big on these crime stories, but how can I not discuss the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife? Rob Reiner, a hardline anti-Trump spokesperson, was murdered along with his wife, Michelle Singer, by their son, allegedly by their son, Nick Reiner. Nick Reiner has a long, long history of drug addiction and problems and mental issues. This was not the first time that Nick Reiner had a severe drug-induced psychosis, and he wrecked the house once before, and I think the sister had described him as being dangerous. Of course, Nick and his dad made a movie about the struggles that he had, and the problems with staying, sober, the problems that Reiner had with listening to therapists who said tough love, throw him out, make him live on the street. And this kid always hated his parents for doing that, putting him out on the street. Well, he put himself out on the street. And I mean, this kid had been in therapy and in drug programs, 17 times, I think it was reported. And that's the thing with drugs. He knew that it was bad for him, and yet he just couldn't stop because it rewired the brain. And this is why I think marijuana, it takes people's initiative away. Whatever, man, I'll get to it, man. And I worked with drunks who got more stuff done and figured more stuff out. And I've worked with stoners who you just said, sit in the corner. Sit in the corner. Because you're going to hurt yourself, and you're going to hurt me, and you're going to hurt others, and you're going to slow the job down even more than it is by 50%, because we're both supposed to be doing this. You're not, so the job is already cut in half. But if you hurt me then the job is cut 90%. Or 100%. So stay in the corner. Been there, done that, seen it. Rob Reiner, or as I used to call him, Weiner, just would say outrageous things against Trump. He said outrageous things against Bush. I mean, it was either total liberalism, except for him. Except for him. He lived in Brentwood, in a private neighborhood. I wonder how far he lived from OJ. But it's always these people who, yeah, go out of the street, march, do this, yeah, do that. And then they get in their private airplanes, fly home, or go to a fancy hotel and meet people and never get dirty. And take, Rob Reiner must have been a huge contributor to the DNC, not only in a financial matter, but he'd show up as a speaker and speak. He'd help ring the bell for money. And that's okay. They can do that. Nothing really wrong with it. You could do that. But he was just a very, very TDS person who anything Trump would say, he'd be all over it. If Trump could produce diamonds, he would complain that it wasn't gold. See, diamonds. Where's the gold? So, very sad. I think, these ideas of, some states now are pushing back, some cities like, Washington, and Oregon are pushing back now. All right, not drugs for everyone. No, we're not giving out heroin. We're not giving out this stuff. Um, Placating them instead of treating them. That's what was the Democrats' cry about drugs. And I'm sorry, marijuana is a gateway drug. Beer is a gateway alcohol. Wine, gateway. I'm not saying outlaw it. We tried that. And America likes its booze. Always have. Booze and guns. You know what was the first organized police task force in America? The ATF. We liked our alcohol, we liked our tobacco, and we liked our firearms. Not necessarily in that order. The ATF. It wasn't about trying to protect anyone. The ATF was there to collect taxes. And remember, I've said it before, the Republicans red, the Democrats blue, all bow to the color green. That's the way it works. You go to Red China and you find corruption because of green. You go to Russia, things get done, comrade, if you pay the right people. It's the way it works. Anyone that says anything different doesn't understand. Doesn't understand how the real world works. Now, a lot of people, that they never run into that situation. But you think about it in our, and we need a table. Hey, Mater D. Hey, did you drop $40? By the way, I need a table. There's a long line out there. It's raining. You dropped this $40? Oh, table's ready. What do you think a bribe is? What do you think corruption is? What do you think? I mean, you go to a ball game and you got tickets and there's a little bit better seats over there and the usher's bringing you down and you go, hey, can we sit over there? And if they come, we'll just move right back over to here. Just slip in $25, $30 just back in the day. All four of you can sit there closer. Yeah. How do you think the real world works? There's a price, and then there's the price. Oh, that shouldn't be. I agree with you 100%. You go out there and try to change it. Well, I just won't pay it. Well, then you ain't getting it done. It's as simple as that. Because someone else will pay it to get it done because I got to get it done. Got to get done. So, all right. I'll just upcharge it to the customer. So, but I think that the Democrats that we're dealing with nowadays, I mean, you take a look at what's going on in Minnesota. And not just Minnesota. You look at what was going on in Kentucky. That state. Red state. Thousands of frauds going on there with EBT. So this isn't an all blue thing. No, I would say the majority, the heavy hitters, are all blue states, and they know it. They know it. They know that Trump is going to be focusing down on getting this information and going, blue state bad, blue state bad, blue state bad. These guys are all. Did you know about it? Well, what, you didn't? Okay, I believe you. But why? Why didn't you know it? Shouldn't you've known it? Trump is going to paint these people into a corner they can't get out of. And he is good at it. You think you're 3 steps in front of Trump? You're actually 6 steps back. You just don't know it yet. Smart cookie. Smart cookie. Obama. Smart cookie. The Clintons. Smart. Sloppy. They were sloppy. And you get sloppy, you get caught. So, all right. It's been 41 minutes, going on 42. I want to thank everyone that stayed and listened to my podcast. Please join. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Disagree with me. Tell me why. Tell me I'm an idiot. Bob, you don't have to say that. You just say hello and I know what you're thinking. That's Bob in New York. My bestest of buddies. Really. And he's an uber liberal? And you're friends with him? How dare you, sir? Yeah, see? I can do that. I can have an honest disagreement with someone and still call them one of my best friends. Now, he wants to beat me over the head with a bat, drag me around, tie me to his bumper. But that's all right. I don't worry about that because he's a very lazy man. No, I'm only kidding. Bob is one of the hardest workers I know. All right. With that, I ask that you donate if you can. Donate to a charity that you know is real. Don't become a victim helping a victim. And if you're uncomfortable with that, think about giving to a food bank. Now, I've been bad this month because of reasons that I have not participated in food drives and things, and I'm really feeling bad about it. We're going to take care of it this week. But, you know, when you're running around sick or running around taking care of things and there's other life gets in the way, and you have to be careful not to say, well, you know, I'm busy too. You know, I got things on my plate too. And sometimes you just have to stop and look and go, all right, well, see, I got things on my plate, like food. Those people don't. It's a huge difference. I could deal with my problems with a full stomach. They can't. They're cold. So sometimes you have to take a deep breath, step back, look at the big picture. Look at the big picture. Oh, my car broke down. Oh, I got to repair it. I got to go out there and fix it, and it's cold out, and I'm unhappy. Well, you got a car. You have hands that work. You could buy the part and fix it. You're doing pretty good. The people that have to slug on down to a bus, wait in the cold, or walk, or ride a bicycle. So sometimes you got to just step back and go, I don't got it too bad. You know, am I thrilled with everything? Nope. Do I got it bad? No. All right, say a prayer. Prayer works, regardless what a Democrat might tell you. I'll tell you why, but You have to personally ask me why. You do that at John Radio TV. All one word. John, John, Radio TV at gmail.com. And I will give you the answer. And I will, of course, put that up. No, it's always over the shoulder. At the end, leave your comments. I'm going to put that now running. Please subscribe in my email. I'm getting a little bit better at this. Not much better. Remember to turn things on, turn things off. All right, with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Catch you later. It's Monday. I will be at Socrates Station this evening from about 5:30 till they get tired of me and toss me out. And that's in Socrates, South Carolina. Look for the fat guy with the pretty blonde at the bar. All right. I am going to fade to black.